Hey, welcome back. So today I just wanted to quickly talk about cables and tips for the BLON BL01. And a few of you have already asked, and I think before you get too far, I just wanted to sort of explain why I was hesitant and sort of talk about people's expectations for the BLON BL01. And I think most people, their expectation is it's going to be very similar to the BL03. Plug it into your phone, get rid of that trashy, stringy cable that it comes with, buy some new tips that fit, and all set. So with the BL05S, I went with silver cables, and I think generally that was the consensus that it really brings the drivers to life, and that all worked out really well. Aslo tips, another good choice because they brought out the bass and controlled it so it wasn't as boomy. All good things. So the BL01, not quite the same as either the 03 or the 05. And the biggest gotcha on the 01 is it really needs a power source. Out of your phone, it'll sound okay. It might sound a little worse than an 03. It might sound a little better than an 03. It's really hard to tell. And in my opinion, it's just underpowered on my phone. And I just didn't like it as much as the 03. It was just inconsistent. And mostly, one of my favorite parts of the 03 is the soundstage. And on the 01, out of my phone or even out of my dongle, it sounded a little cramped. Not cramped, but a little smaller than it should have been. The vocals were a little farther away than they should have been. It just didn't match my expectations or exceed them even from the 03. It just didn't feel right. And so I ordered this is the nice HCK Litz OCC cable, that new one that came out in 2.5 millimeters. So balanced cable, get the higher output on the Q Deluxe 5K, and it sounds vastly different. The whole thing opens up, the sound stage is nice and open, the bass is just really fast, precise, nicely textured. It's that BLON BL01 when people talked about it exceeding the 03, that's what they're talking about. So if you're expecting it to plug into your phone like the 03, I do want to caution you that it might not exceed your expectations, and you might feel like the volume is way too low when you're turning it up. All these things kind of point to it's slightly underpowered. So it's just hard to know. Like, I don't want someone spending $15 or $18 on a cable assuming it's going to make it sound better, where the real problem is power. So that's sort of my hesitancy on tips and cables and really setting up your 01 in an optimal state. If you just have a phone or you just have a dongle or it's not getting the power, it just doesn't sound right. So that's why I'm saying hold off, see how it works on your source, see how you like the sound. Don't necessarily spend a whole lot of money on a $15 bargain from 1111 and then go spend double or more on tips, assuming that you're just going to plug it into your phone and it's going to sound just better than your 03. So I think other people have been saying the same thing. Larry Folden on Audio Reviews had a post about amplification and talked about the 01 as well. Some people on HeadFi are saying the same exact thing. So I think generally you're going to see more and more talk about powering the BL01 to really bring it out to its optimal sound. And I agree. When it's amplified, it sounds, quite amazing. It exceeded my expectations powered. The soundstage is just as good as it was on the 03. The vocals are just as close. The bass is much better because it's faster and it's textured and it's layered. Nice definition. So the new driver does that very, very well, but you only really hear it at its best with a powered powered source. So again, I don't want to say cancel your orders, but I do want to say have reasonable expectations for your source and an IEM that's going to require a bit of power. And don't go spending money chasing cables and tips until this one arrives and you try it on whatever you're going to play music on. So that's it. Just a quick run through of what I've been doing the past couple of days, and a lot of it was figuring out which cable to use, and I actually used both of these at some point, and neither sound as good as the 2.5 millimeter because it's the most power out of the Q Deluxe, and not so much that it's a nice copper cable. It's my own. It's not my only 2.5 millimeter cable, but my most recent one is the one I chose to use, and it's the one that sets the Q Deluxe 5K into balance mode with the most power. So that's that. So don't read too much into this cable or anything. It just happens to be the one that I had ordered on 11/11 and balanced output. So again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will obviously get back to a full review on the BL01, but I just wanted to kind of throw this out there in case people were, adding cables to your carts and tips, and all in this anticipation of your O1 arriving soon. So again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time.